This is Good Morning Mumbai with Rishi K.
Well, like I told you guys a couple of minutes ago, here he is, Shayamal Vallabhji, the sports scientist and friend. What's up, Shayamal? Good to see you, buddy. Yeah?
Thanks so much. Thanks, Rishi. Love being here.
And these are exciting times for you because you just went away and did a lot of work with the Kenyan athletics team. And, this is huge because Kenyans by nature are such amazing runners. And you've always waxed eloquent about their long-distance running techniques.
Correct.
So how was that experience?
So it was a phenomenal experience. For the last, say, 5 or 6 years, I've been doing a lot of physiological research on them. And we've been looking at certain parameters. And, like a simple thing, like if I test their VO2 max, we know we get a figure. We may get 89, 90 milliliters per kilogram, and we know that. But we don't know what they did to get to that superior physiological parameter. So I just took 10 days off to go and live with them in their village and see what their life was like, what their training was like, what the food they ate, how did they work, how did they operate. And I was just trying to understand the socioeconomics behind the driving force for Kenyan running. And it was probably one of the most phenomenal experiences. I ran 230 kilometers in a week.
Wow.
And that's the average running that they are covering. You don't need to motivate a Kenyan to run. He just wakes up every morning at 6 and he's on the road running 18 kilometers in the morning. He runs 15 in the afternoon. Mileage is phenomenal. They're truly wonderful people, really warm, down to earth. And it was just a life-changing experience.
And is there a particular athlete's village where you were staying with them and working with them? Or were there isolated incidents of you going on track and working with them?
No, I stayed at the high altitude training facility that was founded by Lorna Kiplagat, who's a former Kenyan runner. She used to run for the Netherlands. And there are lots of world-class athletes. I was staying there with the Turkish running team. The Spanish ultramarathon team was there. We had a few British runners, a few UK runners being based there. And it's a high-altitude training facility that's designed for the runner. It's got all these facilities, takes care of his food. And in Kenya, there are different running camps. But to get into a running camp, you have to be invited. You have to be invited by the marquee runner who heads up that camp. So there'd probably be about 50 to 60 camps in Eton. And you get invited based on your performance, and you get invited at the age of about 16 or 17, and you literally with them for about 10 years before you actually get your first race.
Wow. So, yeah. And a lot of these youngsters are from villages where they've actually run for food and water.
Correct. Yeah. So that's one of the big socioeconomic drivers in Kenyan running is in Eton or in Eldoret, the altitude is about 2,400 meters, which is a big plus for them. The second thing is that they have no infrastructure, no money, so their kids are running around barefoot. The average child is walking about 3 to 4 kilometers a day, just getting to school, coming back home to eat, walking around, playing. They don't have access to facilities. Eton is completely hilly. You wouldn't find 300 meters flat. Everything is rolling hills. So they're constantly training and getting sort of the equivalent of hill or fartlek training. And all of these things are driving forces behind what makes them so good. And you see a champion literally everywhere you go. There's someone. You can throw a stone and hit a person who'll run 2 hours, 6 minutes, 2 hours, 7 minutes. They're in abundance.
Amazing. Republica ready to go. Shayamal Vallabhji, the sports scientist. He's at Shayamal V on Twitter. Great man to follow. I follow him, man. Come on, add to his follow count. 10:08 in the morning. More conversation right after this. Republica ready to go. Shayamal Vallabhji, the sports scientist, is here. For those of you tuned in late a couple of minutes ago, he was talking about working with the Kenyan athletic team. These are also wonderful times for you. You have a spanking new facility.
Yes.
In Parel. Where is that? When are you opening to the public? Are enrollments open? And how can people enroll?
So, we're very excited. We're doing a new JV with Terra Wellness in Peninsula Business Park. So it's going to be a 7,000 square foot.
In Parel.
Yeah, in Parel, in Lower Parel. A 7,000 square foot facility it's got an action soccer field. It's got a 3,000 square foot gym. We'll be opening a 4-bed physiotherapy clinic once again. And we bring in our best team to come in here because this is an area that we used to be working in. And it's going to be our premium high-performance training facility. So it's something we're really excited about. It should be opening doors 31st July. We'll be getting work. Latest would be 5th of August. And you can follow us at the Heal Institute on Twitter, and you'll get more details on registrations. We're launching some exciting packages to kick it off. And it's going to be one of our best facilities, so we're really excited about kicking this off soon.
At Heel Institute or the Heel Institute?
At the Heel Institute.
At the Heel Institute. Are you guys on Facebook also?
Yes, we're on Facebook at Heel Institute.
Okay, at Heel Institute on Facebook as well. So go there and like you said, it's not just about recuperation and rehabilitation. It's about getting people stronger.
Correct.
If there are people with injuries, and also to work with athletes, which again is your core area.
So sports science and working with athletes is our core forte, and the entire business is based around that. It's about getting people healthier, getting people more active, and our patient population includes everyone who's had sort of post-operative, people who've got chronic pain, corporates who just want to get fitter, healthier. We see a very large running population who are picking up these running injuries, and that's my key area of specialities, understanding running injuries and running performance. And that's what we're trying to navigate towards. We're trying to educate the public that it's not just about, getting rid of the pain and then sitting back. It's about changing your lifestyle, bringing in all the other components that make you a fitter, healthier person, and creating an ecosystem around you that can sustain that well-being and that wellness. So,
and also this area is high on office goers and corporates.
Yes, yeah.
I'm sure you're going to be designing enough programs for office goers and people who are working in the area.
Yeah, we're very excited because Peninsula Business Park is a premier location in Lower Parel. It's right opposite Urmi as well. So we do a lot of work with Star TV for Kabaddi that's on right now, and because we've had a premises in Lower Parel literally 5 or 6 months ago, we've got a very large catchment of patients in this area. So we believe that this will get a lot of traction quite quickly. And the facility is designed in such a way, it's got an outdoor training facility, it's got an indoor gym, it's got a full spa facility, we're opening a 4-bed physiotherapy clinic, we've got an outdoor action soccer field where we can do functional training as well. So it's been designed to, really push performance parameters for athletes, and we'll be migrating most of our athletic population to this facility to be training. So it's something that, if you do pop in and you do come and visit, you'll definitely bump into a few athletes, and you'll be able to see how they push the limits. And if you're lucky enough, we may even catch a few Olympians.
Lovely. I'm going to come back to the Indian athletics team now.
Yeah.
Adil Sumariwala, who is head of the Indian Athletics Federation, also on the governing council of the IAAF, which is the International Amateur Athletics Federation, was in studio, and he was talking about how it's wonderful that athletes like OP Jaisha, for example, are actually in Ooty doing some high altitude training here with a Russian coach.
Yes.
So there's obviously a lot more focus this year than there ever was as far as athletes in India are concerned. So you must be happy about that, but also there are a few areas, lacunas, that need to be filled.
Yeah, 100%. I think if you had a look, the Indian Olympics is definitely getting better year on year, Olympic after Olympics. London was our best performance, and we got in 6 medals, and we're definitely getting better. And I constantly on Twitter hear people saying that, we should be doing a lot better. Because and recently someone compared it to Iceland, and people compared it to smaller nations that are producing more medals, and it's not actually fair to look at the population of the country and then determine how many medals we should win, because when you have 1.75 billion, you're also searching for talent through 1.7 billion or 1.25 billion people, as opposed to 300,000 or 1 million people. So the number does make it harder for us to find talent. We definitely have all the facilities, and government's putting in a lot of money and a lot of support into sort of getting our athletes. But I was recently asked a question after I came back from Kenya, where they said, how can an Indian athlete and a Kenyan athlete, how can we bridge that gap? And I thought the best way for me to answer this is to actually define what that gap is. And here's an interesting stat. In 1990, the person who won the marathon event ran 2 hours, 8 minutes and 47 seconds. In 2016, if you run 2 hours, 8 minutes and 47 seconds, you wouldn't be in the top 500 times in the world.
Ouch.
Okay. The current world record or the marathon record for an Indian runner is 2 hours 12 minutes by Shivnath in 1978, and that was an untimed race. The fastest timed run is about 2 hours 15 minutes by Ram Singh, which would put us way above the top 2,500 times in the world. So the gap is monstrous. So we really need to now open our eyes towards using more scientific interventions to start bridging that gap and looking at it. And when the Athletics Federation are taking their athletes to Ooty, or we're doing track and field work in Trivandrum, it's a step in the right direction. And I think the one exciting thing that I'm seeing is that corporates are coming in and they're starting to back Olympic sports, which is the way forward.
Fantastic. Yes, Fun Factory with celebration. We're going to come back with more Shayamal Vallabhji after this, some messages. So keep yourself busy. You have any questions or comments? It's at HRISHIKAY on Twitter. You could also tag at Shayamal V on Twitter, and of course the Heal Institute. And if you're on Facebook, it's HRISHIKAY on Facebook. You can put it on the timeline or inbox us, and facebook.com/radio1.mum.
This is
10:18. I'm Rishi K. Back in a bit.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Rishi K.
Shayamal Vallabhji, who I have tremendous respect for, sports scientist, a man who works with athletes of all shapes, sizes and dimensions. In studio, we talked about the Kenyan athletics team and some high altitude training that he was involved with, and also what ails Indian athletics. Now, a big doping scandal broke out. This athletics in particular has been a victim of many doping scandals over the years. I mean, I remember being scarred as a little boy when I found out that Ben Johnson, for example, had taken anabolic steroids, and thereon there's been a successive series of scandals. And WADA is obviously tightening the screws, but talk to me about the latest doping scandal, please.
So international athletics has been hit by probably the biggest scandal we've ever had, and doping has become such a prominent aspect right now that if you look at Rio, for example, we've had almost 40 Kenyan marathon runners being banned in the last 18 months. Russia, there's currently going to be a meeting on whether Russia should even perform at the current Olympics. They passed a rule 2 weeks ago saying that athletes have to apply for a special exemption if they want to compete under a neutral banner at Rio. 137 people applied for that, of which 136 people failed. One athlete only.
Goodness me.
One Russian athlete just qualified for that. British athletics has also been hit. So, and if you look at statistically, we've had more than 2% of the athletics population testing positive in the last 18 months. But when I look at it, 13% of WADA accredited facilities have failed standards that are supposed to be adhered to in terms of testing procedure. So I think there lies the problem, is the sense that, WADA is just incapable of tightening the screws in the manner that it can. There are far too many loopholes in the system, and far too many athletes are getting away with it. And the honest truth is, the reason people are doing it and they're getting away with it is because in the world of sport, there's far too much of disparity with how the number one person is rewarded. The number one person in any sport gets 80% of the money, and number two doesn't even know. And a typical example is, to all the listeners, if you ask anyone who won the 100 meters in Rio, they would tell you Usain Bolt. And you ask them who won the 100 meters in London, they would tell you Usain Bolt. And if you ask them who came at second, 99% of the people won't be able to answer that question.
Yep.
And it's the exact same thing with our resources as well. All the resources go to the person who wins. And because of that disparity, the athlete sees no other option but to dope. And doping works. It's a fact. You will see, for the average athlete who's using any performance enhancing substance, he can expect anywhere between a 3 to 5% performance, which is more than enough to secure a victory at that level.
And, often athletes turn around and say, I wasn't even aware of this. And it's happened in other sports.
Yeah.
I'm talking Shane Warne, who said his mom gave him something, and Maria Sharapova, more recently, saying that she wasn't even aware. Do you buy that argument, or does the athlete always know?
I think 90% of the time the athlete knows. In a case where he's taken some over-the-counter prescription when he's had a flu or a cold, then, there is a little bit of ignorance. But 90% of the time the athlete does know, which is why WADA rules is that the athlete is responsible for anything that he takes. The Maria Sharapova case is something that I definitely don't buy. She's been on that drug for the last 8 years. She's been warned 5 times about it. Okay, and if you look at the prescription that she was given, that drug is prescribed for anywhere between 7 days to 20 days. Okay, she's been on it for 8 years, and she's been on it during the height of competition when she's entering Wimbledons and US Opens, and it increases the oxygen uptake in the body. So you'll be able to, your recovery is much faster, your fatigue is much prolonged. So you're going to be able to perform better than anyone else. You're recovering, so it doesn't become a level playing field. So I definitely don't buy the Maria Sharapova case that she didn't know what's happening. But the problem in doping is that, there needs to be a general consensus to clean sport up. And that has to come in from WADA and from the federations. 90% of sporting federations know the athletes that are not clean. But some of the athletes are so big and they drive sport income so much that it's in the best interest of the federation to not mention anything.
Which is what happened with Lance Armstrong.
Correct. 100%. So that's the reason why. And if we don't come to the table where we're saying we want to make sport clean and fair, then to be honest, WADA's hands are going to be tied and there's very little anyone can do about it.
Shayamal Vallabhji saying it like it is. Always the case with him. Wonderful. At Shayamal V on Twitter. There's the Heel Institute on Twitter as well as on Facebook. Ace of Base, Cruel Summer, some happy Swedish pop for you guys. We're going to be back and we're going to talk about the potential Zika and water problem at 10:33. I'm Rishi K. Cruel Summer, Ace of Base, 10:36 in the morning. You look at their rich history from ABBA to Roxette to Ace of Base. The Swedes are just rocking and rolling. Shayamal Vallabhji, the sports scientist, is here. Some wonderful insights into Indian athletics, into doping scandals around the world, and now the potential Zika problem and water scarcity. So what is Zika? A lot of people don't even know what it is, Shayamal. Tell us about it.
So Zika is a virus that's it's spread by mosquitoes, pretty much the same mosquitoes that would give you sort of dengue, and it affects, the symptoms that you would get is you'd get high fever, conjunctivitis, blood pressure. And the reason why it's such a big problem right now in Rio is that, recently we've registered a few deaths from the virus, from people who've been affected by the virus, and it's affected not through any sort of oral transmission or through family contact. It's transmitted through these mosquitoes, and the reason it's becoming such a problem in it's uncontrolled right now in Brazil, and because of the water pollution problems that they're experiencing, they're expecting a high number of cases in that there. So there's a lot of contingency plans that have been taken by many federations who are going there. For example, the British Olympics Federation is flying over about 100,000 litres of clean fresh water, bottled water for their athletes. I recently just drafted an entire health memo for Kenyan athletics where we've got them, we've got mosquito repellents, we've got repellent blankets, we've got them on malaria medication leading up for the last 3 weeks into that. We're trying, South Africa is taking over, I think something like 25 to 30,000 water purification tablets in there. So people are really concerned, and I think the most important thing is when athletes like Rory McIlroy, Thomas Berdych, Milos Raonic, who's just played in the final at Wimbledon, when they started pulling out of an international competition as big as an Olympics, then there is some concern because they're coming out of sort of first world countries. They've got all the medical support that you can possibly think of. They can go in well taken care of, but even they are concerned about it, and concerned to the point that they pull out of an Olympics means that a few red flags should go up.
And you don't know if the Indian federations are doing anything as of now?
I'm not really sure if the Indian federations, I'm working with a few athletes and I'm in touch with quite a few of them, and to the best of my knowledge, when I ask them about it, they're not even aware or haven't been briefed about
which is dangerous
because
doing or not doing is secondary. You should be aware, which is the most important thing.
And the sad thing is that the International Olympic Association is doing their part by sending enough information to the federations, and the problem is that the information isn't just getting to the athlete. And that's a concern. So we need that communication needs to be improved. The unfortunate thing is today we're sitting here on the 19th, and the team will probably depart for Rio on the 25th or 26th of July, which doesn't even give us enough time to get them on malaria medication, And being an athlete who's a high-performing athlete, you should have been on this a long time ago to understand what its effect on your body is from a training point of view. So these are, because at the Olympics, it comes down to 0.5, 0.2% that makes the difference. 1/100th of a second sometimes is the difference between gold and silver. So and there are numerous variables that can affect that. It can be temperature, it can be wind conditions, it can be the medication, the type of water you're drinking, all sorts of things like that. And you find that the athletes who are the countries that are trying to prepare the best, trying to maintain a controlled mechanism and a controlled ecosystem with as many variables as they possibly can.
Up ahead, I'm going to ask Shayamal about Indian athletes or athletes he thinks will impress at Rio, or people who've impressed him thus far. People he's been working with or not working with. Maroon 5, This Love, a last leg of conversation with the sports scientist. Up ahead, it's 10:40. I'm Rishi K. More pictures of Shayamal going up at HRISHIKY on Twitter. There's a page on Facebook, HRISHIKY. There again, you'll see them in the timeline. Tweet back or post back reactions or questions. And one space, you comment a name to 53650 on SMS. 53650 is the in-studio SMS line, and facebook.com/radio1.mum, our official page. Here's Maroon 5.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Rishi K.
Shayamal Vallabhji, the sports scientist in studio, and we're talking about Rio, Indian athletics, Kenyan athletics, and of course the doping scandal that erupted just a while ago. The last leg of conversation with him. Okay, athletes that you're excited by, people you're working with, going to Rio across disciplines or sports. Talk about that.
So, firstly, we're really proud. Our Indian contingent, we have, I think, 121 athletes competing in 15 sports going to Rio. It's our biggest contingent. So, as a nation, we can definitely be proud of what's happening. In terms of looking at performance, I think traditionally and even this year, we can expect good results in the games. Our wrestlers are going to be doing phenomenal because they're really competing at a high level, and they've been winning world championships, winning medals there. Our shooting is phenomenal. Abhinav Bindra is going to be the flag bearer, and he's going to be at the helm of that shooting. He knows how to handle the pressure. He's won a gold for us. He knows what it's like. It's actually his 5th Olympics. Not too many people know that. So when you got a stalwart like that who is mentoring the others, they just stand that much more of a chance of succeeding. Because when you look at World Cups and when you look at Olympics, it's the ability to handle pressure at the last second that determines whether you're going to actually win a medal or not. So and then we got Saina Nehwal. She's number 1, number 2 in the world. You can't discount that. She's been having a phenomenal run, just won the Australian Open, and so these are the bankers. I'd like to also, I've worked very closely with the tennis team, and I've gone now to London with them. I've gone to Beijing with them, and we always go in as medal contenders. But I think this year in the mixed doubles, Sanya being number 1, Rohan with his huge serve, I think you can't discount them. They've got a very, very good chance of coming back with something as well. So these are the people I would sort of put my money on in terms of bringing medals back for us. I'm looking at the wrestlers, the boxers, the archery team, our shooting team, and our tennis team to come back. So because traditionally we do excel in games. We are a tad bit off the 8 ball with regards to athletics. And but the fact that we're getting more athletes into the competitive arena is something really positive. So in terms of athletics, I think what our athletes are going to do is they're going to go in there, they're going to get that experience, and we've got to create a platform for them to come back and share that experience and share what it is, and use that to motivate others, and use the next 8 years to bridge that gap. I think that's where I'll sum it up for India at Rio.
And as far as Heel Institute and yourself are concerned, this is amazing stuff that you're doing with the Jaipur Kabaddi team. And what a wonderful team owner, Abhishek Bachchan. Really God's own man, with a heart the size of a planet.
100%. He's absolutely an amazing soul, and we've been fortunate enough to work with him from the very first season, and this year has been a revelation, because the first year we won it, and he's always been someone who thinks about the athlete first. He puts in a lot of time, effort, money into sort of making sure the athlete. And this year he came back and he said, we're going to revamp everything. You tell me exactly what the team needs to do to perform. What are the things that we need to change? And we wiped the slate clean, and literally we brought in things like nutritionist, strength and conditioning coach, physiotherapist. We got in a separate team manager who just manages the team discipline. The coach is allowed to do a completely different job and manage that. We've been briefed the captain. We've been doing innate intelligence tests. We're doing a lot of physical tests with them. I've sent in my best team in terms of physiotherapists and strength coaches to work with them, and the results have shown. And I think the one thing I love about Abhishek, especially when it comes to Jaipur Kabaddi, he's so involved. He's literally there at every single match. He takes his dad around, and it's a huge motivational factor when Mr. Bachchan comes into the room. And even Abhishek himself, he's there every match. He meets them before, he peps them up, and the team is playing for him, which is brilliant. You're really seeing that energy coming through, and they're proud to be a part of Jaipur Pink Panthers, which and I wish we see this right across the board, because the number of leagues in India is just increasing so much, and we need to see there are a lot of wallflowers out there, people who are just holding positions, and I think they're prominent people, so if they can interact, they'll help pull the sport and help people pull, and everything will move forward in the right direction.
So I'm going to just do a tweet with your picture saying 2 people in studio love you, Abhishek Bachchan, and send one out to him.
Yes.
It's just an idea that it's got stuck in my head there. Fantastic. And best luck, Shayamal.
Thank you very much.
For everything that you're going to do in the future. And of course, a last quick one on the facility at Peninsula Business Park.
Yes. We're opening around the 31st of July. It's a JV with Terra Wellness. It'll be called Heal with Terra. Exciting 7,000 square foot place, and got an action soccer field, outdoor training, 3,000 square foot indoor training gym, 4-bed physiotherapy, massage clinic, shower facilities, in a beautiful facility as well. And we're looking forward to seeing everybody in there. We're looking forward to healing India one center at a time. How
can somebody enroll? Is there a website or Facebook page?
The website, the Heal Institute website is www.thehealinstitute.in, and you'll find details about Heal with Terra on the website. Or you can just tweet to us at the Heal Institute, and we'll send you more details, and follow us, and you'll figure out everything.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for this. This is great fun.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. George Michael, Fast Love. My name is Rishi K. We're at 10:58. Good morning.